When you apply these 5 painful methods to narcissists, they will be ruined for good. Do narcissists push things too far with how cruel and manipulative they are? What ways do you think this is true? The best way to avoid feeling backed into a corner or dominated by other people is to stay one step ahead of them. I really hope that this video answers all of your questions and makes you feel better. I'll start by telling everyone who I am. We'll start by talking about the 5 best ways to stand out in a group, even if you compare yourself to a narcissist. Initially, I'd inquire as to whether or not you have ever attempted to outwit a narcissist. Could you tell me what happened, and if the results were what you were hoping for? Other survivors may find strength in your comments and suggestions, especially if you share what you've been through. The 5th one will be the most interesting and important, so wait. The first step is to stop thinking about the narcissist in terms of your own values and start seeing them for who they really are. The worst thing is having to deal with a narcissist, both when you're happy and when you're sad. You know a narcissist is bad for you, but you can't say no to the short-term relief they give you from your constant pain. You continue to rationalize the narcissistic conduct by pointing to cognitive and emotional dissonance, and you cling to what I would consider hopeless because you see no alternative. Despite their bad behavior, you believe that they are basically nice people. I think you're missing the idea entirely. You could end yourself giving them more chances than they deserve, giving in to their manipulation and gaslighting without even realizing it. When co-parenting or engaged in a secret code battle with another parent, this is not the best way to think. The spell will be broken when you let go of the concept that others should change to conform to your idealized self or connection. As they don't think they offer anything to the table, they have no use for friendship, teamwork, open communication, or consideration. They cannot see the opportunities that exist. Given their track record, any effort put into fulfilling this pledge would be for naught. The person whose shadowy side surprised and stunned you is the real deal. Get some perspective by stepping back from the event and then analyzing the patterns that emerge. Give in to your want to have fun. Seeing how they sank from angels to demons in an effort to maintain contact with you, and how their abuse tainted even the good times you shared with. Accepting the truth, however challenging it may be, is the only path to true freedom. After you've proved their bad intent, you'll have the upper hand no matter what. Don't let their pleasant demeanor deceive you. They will be just as indifferent in front of your children. They may take drastic action in the heat of a coding conflict. The more you can accept them as they truly are, the more power you'll have in the relationship, and the better you'll be able to weather whatever storms they may send your way. Keep in mind that once the narcissist has been exposed, they can no longer cause you any harm. Related to trauma bonding and traumatic events is a phenomenon called cognitive resonance. The second guideline is to reply to the narcissist, but avoid actual conversation. You are more than capable of dealing with this situation. To avoid being emotionally manipulated, it can help to recognize the other person's goals in doing so and the gain they hope to achieve. Once you realize the link and begin responding instead of reacting, the narcissist will lose interest in prodding you. One example is receiving a communication from a narcissist in which they attribute all of their problems to you and make you feel responsible for them. The correct response is to position yourself as the solution they need. They keep pressing you to justify your behavior, and you feel forced to do so. In this way, you are further drawn into the abyss. Instead, you would skin the message for the information that is most important to your response. In the event of a disagreement between the parents, you may choose to respond to one parent's text message only if it affects the children's pick-up and drop-off times, while ignoring the other and archiving their texts. You should work on developing self-discipline and the ability to make rational choices. Feelings alone won't go you very far when talking to a narcissist. Think of your brain like a map you can never lose. Narcissists can benefit from tapping into their emotions. If you can control your emotions, you'll be a narcissist's worst nightmare. The third guideline is to establish clear and immovable boundaries. I need you to hear me out. Having no restrictions is the same as taking your own life. Setting boundaries with a narcissist might be difficult, but doing so is in your best interest. Do whatever it takes to tame this untamed beast. Your enemy is a self-absorbed jerk who is also a narcissist. And if you give in to their demands, they'll grow from a centimetre to a metre overnight. If you give them a centimetre, they'll find a way to fill it with a pound. Do not give in readily if they cannot respect your personal space. You are preparing the way for a great deal of suffering in your own life. You can't count on them to recognize your royal status. Don't waste your time on a narcissist if you want them to change. Your own good judgment and the well-being of your children should guide your decision on a visit. They will reliably show up every single weekday without missing a beat. When they come back to your home, they will act towards you in the same manner as previously. Find out why you have such a hard time setting limitations and work from there. The only way to tell the narcissist no and keep them away is to figure out why you can't say it in the first place. You should also, if at all feasible, set limits to make it obvious what kinds of behavior you will and will not accept. Punish them for their poor actions. Don't be too stingy with your time. Forgiveness is totally out of the question here. Make sure the other parent has your contact information and knows how often they can see the kids if you're going through a divorce and sharing custody. 4. Don't be suckered in by their ploys. This narcissist is really turning up the volume on the finger pointing. They evade responsibility and make others feel responsible for problems they don't want to manage, since it satisfies their craving for superiority. Avoid taking a narcissist's accusations of blame against you personally. As a form of rejection and deflection, try to ignore it and act as if it doesn't bother you. Their schemes to keep the truth hidden are thwarted. The more they can put the blame on you rather than themselves, the better they'll feel about themselves. It in and of itself is a huge cause for alarm. They may make assumptions about your parenting abilities and methods without ever hearing your side of the story, while they may even invent things to make you appear bad. Show them they're wrong by prioritizing appropriate childrearing in your household. They can say whatever is on their minds because they are irrelevant. Here's a fresh take on the situation. Why would you give someone with a strong sense of self and emotional distance any consideration? They have formed an entirely false opinion of you based on their own prejudices and preconceptions. They can deny it all they want, but you know the real them. The first step, to accept them as they are, is further upon here. After you've vanquished them, you can laugh at their expense. Here we are at the last and final point. Use their weaknesses to your advantage. You can learn to recognize a narcissist for what he or she truly is by observing his or her predictable and repetitive behavior without getting attached to the outcome. You can predict a narcissist's actions with astounding precision if you can suppress your emotions long enough to examine them rationally. If you can do all the things I just said, you may even be able to condition part of their behavior. But one need not actively pursue narcissism in order to be won. Simply said, you have to. Could you defend yourself with anything at all if they tried to torture you? Use their own weaknesses against them, like their desire for external perfection. Determine what it is they require from you and work out how to provide that need while also satisfying your own. When I say drip, I imagine a sluggish flow of liquid. Use their baser desires and the urge for rapid pleasure to gain their cooperation. With enough planning, anything is feasible. What are the chances that if I did this, people would start calling me a narcissist? Maybe, but probably not. You aren't trying to cause any harm. You're just being friendly. This is only a precaution to take in case something terrible should occur. You aren't intentionally harming them, by the way. To put it another way, liberation lies in the realization of the truth. Fortify your willpower and mental fortitude. Instead of giving in to their pain, utilize it to your advantage by capitalizing on what they're skilled at. That's all I can say at this time. Please let me know in the comments if you found this video helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Right now is the time for repair.
The conclusion in this video provides guidance on how to deal with narcissist people who often display manipulative and cruel behavior. The first step is to stop thinking about them through our own values and instead see them for who they are. It is essential to recognize that the narcissist is unlikely to change, and any effort put into fulfilling their promises is futile. Instead, one should establish clear boundaries and stick to them, avoiding getting drawn into their manipulation. To avoid being emotionally manipulated, one can recognize the other person's goal and gains they hope to achieve, respond instead of reacting, and avoid actual conversation. One can also work on developing self-discipline and the ability to make rational choices. When we can control our emotions, we become a narcissist's worst nightmare. Ultimately, it's important to accept the truth, however challenging it may be, to achieve true freedom. We should give ourselves some perspective by stepping back from the situation and analyzing the patterns that emerge. Once we have proven their bad intent, we can have the upper hand and they can no longer cause us harm. Dealing with narcissists is difficult, but by following these guidelines, we can take control of the situation and avoid being manipulated by them. Establishing clear boundaries, responding instead of reacting, and developing self-discipline are all critical to success. It's important to keep in mind that the narcissist is unlikely to change, and accepting this fact will give us the power to withstand any storms they may send our way. By taking these steps, we can avoid feeling backed into a corner or dominated by other people and feel more confident and in control of our lives. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.